how do I forgive this person who really, really hurt me? And I can totally resonate with that because I'm sure all of us have experienced this in our lives. But I wanted to let you know that forgiveness is actually less about forgiving them and more about forgiving yourself. And forgiving is sort of like freedom, you know, because if you haven't forgiven somebody and you're trying to push them away, for example, or just even the memory of what happened, you're still touching that situation metaphorically. Like pushing something away is still having contact with it and it's still affecting you. And so to forgive somebody is to let go and to release it. And by emotionally processing what happened and why it doesn't have to dictate your joy in this moment. Any negative emotion stems from fear, and any positive emotion stems from love. And so when you are struggling to forgive somebody, there, on a foundational level, there's a belief circulating within you that is fearful that something has been taken from you and that can't be recovered. And that's what is making you feel so awful, because when you think about what happened and you relive it over and over again, and you think about how much that person took from you, then it actually makes you feel powerless and like you don't have control over your life. And when you are reliving that situation, because if you haven't forgiven them, then you tend to relive it over and over again to sort of justify why you feel negative emotion. It's like, well, I feel bad because they did this thing. And yes, I don't disagree. They may have done something inherently negative towards you that isn't in alignment with love, but by not forgiving them, you allow that situation to have power over your now moment. And all of your power is in the now. And so it is in your best interest to find a perspective that can help release this experience from your current present tense now moment. Because when you relive the past, your body and the universe doesn't know the difference between whether it's a memory or whether it's literally happening. And Joe Dispenza talks about this, and he talks about how if you are in your imagination and you're imagining something negative, then your body literally thinks that that's what's happening, and that's where all these emotions and maybe tension in your body is coming from, because your body, it doesn't know the difference between imagination and real life, because it's still generating those emotions. And we are very emotional beings, and that is your guidance system talking to you. So another thing, when you are feeling negative emotion around this situation, the fact that you feel negative emotion is an indicator that your inner being doesn't see this situation the same way that you're looking at it right now. Because they're up there, well, your inner being is seeing this as something completely different. And your inner being also knows that nothing that happened to you in the past can dictate your power and your worth and your worthiness in this moment. And that's why when you're focusing on what happened, it makes you feel uneasy, because your inner being is like, yeah, I don't care what's happened to you. You're perfect right now, and you are powerful right now, and nothing has been taken from you. Because even though it seems like they've taken something from you, you're actually the one perpetuating that by focusing on that. By letting go of the idea that what happened has to change your life forever in a negative way, that's what's causing you to feel bad, is thinking that what happens then is going to affect every moment going forward. And that's just limited thinking. That's thinking that that person still has power over you. I love this saying where someone told me once that if you keep thinking about somebody that's hurt you, you're letting them live rent-free in your mind. And I love that saying, because it's so true, right? Like something can happen for, say, maybe a few months, or maybe even it's just a slight that you have with somebody that, like at work, like you had a disagreement. That interaction may have only lasted, say, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes sometimes. But if you take it with you and you think about it over and over again, you're adding time and value to what happened. that is affecting you more and more by the more attention you give to it. And I appreciate the fact that you can't stop thinking about it because you haven't found the perspective that feels good to you. So it feels like a problem that you need to solve. And so I want to give this video to you to help you realize that you are a very powerful creator. All of us are. And you have the ability to direct your thoughts in a way that's pleasing to you. And I want to help you close the book on this pain that you're experiencing from what happened to you. Every single negative thing that happens to you, you have the ability and the power to transform that and alchemize that pain into power, into knowledge, into something better. Every single thing that happens to you, you have the ability to turn it into a good thing. For example, if somebody has stolen money from you and you feel that loss and that disrespect and that feeling of anger towards that person, that is stemming from a fear that what they stole from you can't be recovered, or that it has upset you in a way where you can't forgive them because you think that they've done you wrong, which they have, but you think that what they've done will affect you, but you only feel that way because you're holding on to it and it is affecting you. So by holding on to this anger and hate towards this person, then you are actually letting that situation and that person control your happiness going forward. So by thinking about it over and over again, you are giving that situation power. Whereas if I can find a higher perspective of this situation and be like, you know what? Just because they stole money from me doesn't mean that it dictates my worth, and it doesn't mean that it has to happen again. And that's another thing, is that we can actually start to fear that what happened is going to keep happening, but it's our attention to what happened that actually does keep it happening, that keeps that sort of feeling perpetuating around us, and it's a vibration that swirls around your energy field, and that is what the universe is responding to. It's your chronic mood and attitude and thoughts and vibrations that the universe is responding to, because the universe doesn't actually respond to whether it's something that you want or whether it's something that you don't want. All the universe is responding to is what you would give your chronic attention to. So even if you don't want that to happen again, the universe isn't listening to that. It's listening to what you're giving focus to. And I know that sounds like a bad thing, but when you realize that, and when you take control over your mind and over your focus, and you start directing it towards things that you do want to happen, then the universe responding to that is a very good thing. But it's the law of polarities, where as much as the universe is responding to thoughts about negative things, it's also responding to things that are positive. And so your job is just to first recognize that, and to second, actually steer your attention towards something positive. So if somebody has hurt you, you can start to find positive perspectives about it. For example, I have shared in the past that an ex of mine did financially sort of abuse me, whatever. I didn't have enough boundaries back then to prevent that from happening, or to recognize when I was being manipulated and things like that. So, and I still from time to time can slip into this non-forgiveness mode where I'm just like, oh, I can't believe you did that. And that comes from me not having enough faith in my future ability to attract money to me, because I know that it's only in those times when I am like thinking that I'm not pulling in enough money, or whatever it might be around finances or resources, that I start to think about him and the money that he made off of me, and I start to feel that resentment and anger towards him. But I am only projecting that anger and whatever onto him because I don't have enough faith in that moment about my ability to pull in mass amounts of money, because I believe that one day I will be a millionaire. And I don't want to say one day, because if you keep saying one day, it'll always be one day. But I am a millionaire. I am calling in that vibration of abundance. And if I truly believed that, if I truly believed that I wasn't going to attract the same situation as last time where things were taken from me, then I wouldn't be feeling angry about him. Can you imagine me having billions of dollars or millions of dollars or whatever, this humongous wealth to my name? Can you imagine me having that and still spending time thinking about how he did me wrong? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because I would be so excited and happy about the wealth that I have now that I wouldn't even be giving him a second thought. In fact, I might even bless the experience. I might be like, look at me now. It doesn't bother me what you did to me back then, because I am thriving so much now. And so a lot of this unforgiveness energy comes from this lack of focus on your future and what is possible for you. So if somebody hurt you in a relationship, say they cheated on you, you not forgiving that person or letting go of the situation is you having more faith in bad things happening to you, more attention on bad things happening to you now and in the future, than your faith and your attention about good things coming to you. Because if you were in this doting, loving relationship, do you think that you would then would you spend a lot of your time focusing on what happened then, or would you spend more time focusing on what's happening now? And a lot of us are in that liminal space where we've had something bad happen and a desire was born from it, and then we accidentally keep focusing on what happened instead of what we can create with our minds. And so much of this powerlessness and this fear of loss and fear of things not ever being recovered is our lack of faith and understanding about your ability to create anything that you give your attention to. And so my encouragement to you is to forgive that person, not because they were in the right and not because they deserve to be in your life right now, or that you want to recreate what happened. Because a lot of us cannot forgive people because we fear that if we forgive it, that we're becoming too soft and that it'll happen again if we become, if we soften our attention about it. But really, softening your attention about it and finding a perspective about it that feels better to you is releasing yourself from that person. It's not excusing what they did. It's releasing yourself from what happened. Because it is law of attraction, and you did attract that situation for whatever reason. You might have been vibrating fear and negativity around yourself at that time, and then the law of attraction just brought you a situation that matched that negative energy that you had going on. Doesn't mean that you deserved it, doesn't dictate your worth, but somehow, some way, your thought pattern at that time was attracting a situation like that. And you can use that situation to your advantage, because now you know better. Now you know that your thoughts do create your reality, and now you know the signs and signals about things that are happening in your life about that might be indicating that it's not the right path for you. For me, for example, I now have much stronger boundaries. I now no longer feel the need to earn my worth by what I give to a relationship. I know that I'm worthy independent of what I do for other people. And that's why I can bless what happened to me by me, essentially, because I attracted it in some way. I can now bless it because I'm like, I learned so much from that situation, and I know what's in store for me over here in my future is going to be so amazing that I'm never going to regret what happened, because what's going to happen or what is happening, because I already have so much more self-love than I ever could imagine I could have back then. I did not have that back then. I did not have the confidence that I have now back then. But I truly think that experience helped me to gain this perspective. I like to talk to people about the slingshot theory, and it's like this, where you pull the slingshot back far enough. This is negative stuff, right? Like all the bad stuff that happens to you, it's you pulling back that slingshot. But as soon as you let go, as soon as you forgive, you let go, and the further back you've pulled, the further far forward you will fly. And that is the law of polarity, because from every negative situation, there is an equal positive situation coming to you if you let it in and if you let go. Because to let go, you have to let go of what's happened to you to let in what's coming to you. That's just a law. It's a law. There's no way around it. You have to start focusing on what is coming to you. And another way that I overcame sort of what I was experiencing with the hurt was to remember the parts about that relationship that I actually did really enjoy, and to remember that he's just a human being as well, and we all make mistakes. I have hurt people. I have definitely hurt people in my past, and I didn't intend to. I didn't set out to purposely hurt them, but maybe somebody did set out to purposely hurt you. But hurt people hurt people. Have you heard that saying before? Where it takes a victim to make a victim, that kind of thing. It's true. Like, there's something going on within that person that made them feel that it was the right thing to do to hurt you in a certain way. And that might sound strange to you, but it's true. Every single action anybody ever takes is in an attempt to make themselves feel better in any kind of way. Even if you're self-harming, people do that because they think that it's going to give them some sort of release, or some sort of relief. And we're all just down here trying to feel better. So it doesn't excuse what they did, and it doesn't mean you have to ever let it happen again. But if you could just see them from the eyes of Source, try and find a really high perspective and be like, you know what? I've made mistakes too. And you know what? I've hurt people too. And I don't intend to do that again. And I know that I can attract better because I know better now. But I don't have to let what happened back then dictate how I want to feel right now. And I don't have to let that situation or this hate that I'm feeling towards this person make my life miserable forevermore, because I have the ability to choose a perspective that feels better to me. This is less about you forgiving them and more about you forgiving yourself for attracting that situation to yourself. More about forgiving yourself for letting it ruminate in your mind constantly. Let yourself off the hook. Let them off the hook. Let them go, because they don't have to be in your future. Just because they hurt you back then doesn't mean that they have to hurt you again. And by not forgiving them, you are perpetuating what happened over and over again, and you don't have to. You have the ability to focus, and you have the ability to find a perspective that feels better to you. Sometimes at the beginning, that perspective might be revenge. Instead of feeling powerless and depressed and despair, you might find a thought of revenge. But my encouragement to you is to not hang around in those low vibrational moods, even if it feels better than the last one. Use it for what it is, and that's just a step up and a step up and a step up. And I've talked about the emotional scale before, where sometimes somebody who is in absolute despair, depression, and hopelessness can reach for a thought of revenge to make them feel more powerful than the despair. And then from revenge, they can find just typical anger. And then from anger, they can find maybe pessimism. And then from pessimism, they can find maybe boredom, being like, I'm just bored of thinking about this. And then from boredom, they might find hope. And so you can build your way up. But my encouragement to you is that if you found yourself stuck in revenge, it's time for you to reach for a thought and a perspective and a feeling that feels better than that, because you have that ability. And this isn't about them. This is about you and your focus and your belief about what's in store for you. Have more faith in the fact that you have the ability to attract to yourself things that are good for you. And the fact that you have found this video full of information about the laws of the universe means that you're on the right track. Because once you get a hold of what is possible, once you start to realize that there are universal laws that you can work with, that you can create with, that is inherently happening inside of you, whether you know it or not, that is when you take your power back and you realize that I have the ability to be and do or have anything that I choose and anything that I give my attention to. And it's that state of being and that powerful mindset that has helped me transform my life. And you can do the same too. Every single one of us can. So forgiveness isn't necessarily about foregoing the or letting what happened happen again. It is not about saying that what happened was good or okay, because it isn't and it wasn't, but it can be in the future as long as you let go of it and you can have faith in your future, because your future is so damn bright. When you start to accept your worthiness and your powerfulness and your love that is flowing to you, that it's the thoughts about negative shit that blocks that love coming to you. That's why you feel cut off, and that's why it feels so awful. So learning to forgive somebody is good for you. Don't do it for them, do it for you, because it for me, it feels better to see my ex as just a human being who made a mistake, and to see him with the eyes of source, through eyes of love, rather than seeing him with hate, because it's just me practicing powerlessness when I have the ability to forgive and let it go, because I am letting in so much more, and you can too.